Hey guys, Matt here with Built Right. As you can see, I am standing in front of our Ram Power Wagon 2500. A little bit new to us. If you've been watching the videos, you've seen it in that intro video that we did. But the reason I'm introducing it to you and standing next to Ryan is that we are doing a dash mount. Ryan's been working on it, so I'm going to hand it over to him to show you where we're at.
Yeah, we've been doing some brainstorming in the background. We're going to go ahead and walk through a first prototype and show you how it's done.
So to get started, we first pulled out the trim piece that has the dash in it, brought it over to our 3D scanner, and went ahead and imported it into SolidWorks. As you can see, it's kind of a nice flowing shape. I went ahead and adjusted the coordinate system so everything snaps together a little bit easier and added some surfaces. Then I went ahead and sketched what we think the dash mount top plate should look like and printed a couple iterations to see how it fits, and that's what you see over here. We'll probably have to notch around this whole thing to really give you access. This is just so it doesn't hit it. And then once we have this, we'll start working on the lower bracket. Here's another angle of that top bracket, and then I went ahead and started working on the lower bracket. So this is doesn't even have mounting holes for the top bracket, it just has holes for the slots so we know that they line up just visually. Kind of the first low effort, make sure we're going in the right direction before we kind of flesh everything out. And this fit really nicely.
Surprise, baby.
So this is a picture with the top plate sitting on top of that lower bracket that you saw. And we kind of like how the reveal the whole way around is pretty consistent and looks good. Looks nice and OEM. So after a few iterations, I went ahead and added the holes in the top grill, added some more features in the bottom so we could actually mount it to the truck, and adjusted the cutout for the power port. And when we installed this one, we noticed you really can't, even with this cutout, access the latch. It's very hard to get to. You have to use like a knife to reach in there to flip it up. So we looked into actually integrating the power plug into the top plate. So we ended up with this. It's pretty easy once you have this trim piece out to remove and install the power plug in our top grill. So we'll go over that in our install guide. They conveniently have some holes in the dash tray that you can use to through bolt to get a little bit more secure of a mount, as well as actually screw into the frame with these Phillips head bolts. This will be a very sturdy dash mount solution, but this is kind of what the finished prototype will look like. This is out of 3D printed parts. We'll go ahead and jump to the laser and get this made out of steel. All right, we have the program on the laser computer. We got the sheet of steel loaded in the machine and the laser's in the right spot, so we're ready to go ahead and start cutting. All right, this should take just another couple minutes. Not too bad with gloves. All right, it looks good. Might just deburr the back of this a little bit. All right, got our countersink bit in. Just gonna hit these holes real quick. If you want to know what kind of bit this is a single flute countersink bit. It's pretty much the only way to do it in metal. You can use those other ones, but they just suck. Normally we have air blowing, but we don't have that set up right now, and this creates such a good chip that you don't need as much lube. Gonna sandblast this real quick to have it prepped for paint. It's not really necessary, but it just only takes a second and gives us a better product. Now we have a good finish on here, we're ready for paint. All right, this is our lower bracket. We built it off camera. We're gonna go ahead and sandblast it and get it ready for finish. This is just a prototype. We don't have PEM nuts, so we just tap these holes. But yeah, we'll see if it works.
All right, it's a pretty easy install. First thing you gotta do is get a little pick tool and lift this tray up and out, and I like to put it in your glove box right there so you don't lose it. So for this install, since we're relocating this power plug, we have to take out this whole trim piece. It's relatively easy. You just need to pop out 2 screws. So you're taking out both of these screws. We're actually gonna replace them with longer screws and use them to attach our bracket. All right. And again, I'm gonna pop these in the glove box, keep them safe. Now that we got those 2 screws out, this whole trim piece is loose, and I've taken this out a couple times, so it's a little bit easier, but all you gotta do is get a trim tool underneath this front edge and just kind of pop it up. Do it on the other side, and the whole thing comes out. Now we gotta take off this barrel power, so undo the wire harness, just a little push clip. Just push in and give it a little wiggle. There we go. Set that. I've never had it fall in there, but just be careful. This part may look a little difficult, but it's actually really easy. So what you got to do is open up the port, take a pick tool. There's 2 little tabs you just got to push back. One on here, one over here. So all you got to do is push down a little bit, release the one, release the other, and the whole thing slides out. And then for the trim piece, there's 2 little tabs here and here. You just kind of push those in with your fingers. They're pretty loose. And it drops right out. Now we have this trim piece and we're ready to install our lower bracket. Drops right in. So if you want to, you can install 2 bolts through this trim piece and put nuts on the back, give it a little bit more sturdy attachment, or just use the 2 screw points that we took out earlier. So for this install, we're going to go ham and put in the bolts. Here's where the 2 bolts that tie into the frame go. We actually supply you with longer ones just because we added a little bit more distance. And these 2 holes are where the bolts and nuts will go. All right, we got those 2 bolts in. Now this is tied, our lower bracket is tied to the trim piece. I believe now we can just drop it in. I'm gonna fish the wire through. And gently pop it back in. There we go. Now to replace bolts that tie into the frame underneath with our slightly longer ones. All right, and now that all those are tightened up, it is so very rigid.
Shaking the whole truck here.
Yeah. Now we're going to install the cigarette lighter. So all you got to do is take the cover and just pop it in. Then open it up, and there's some ridges along the green part that you have to line up with the slots in here. And once you do that, just push it all the way in until it snaps. Now it's in there. Now that that's all installed, we're just going to reattach our wire harness. And drop it in place. Now time for our 4 bolts for the top grill. Well, thanks for coming along with us. You got to see the process from initial prototype to final design. Again, just of note, this will only fit the 5th gen RAM with the larger 12-inch screen. We're working on filling out the catalog to fit other models soon. If you don't see this on our site already, it'll be there soon. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.